Deep within Tanagar Canyon, nestled in the northern edge of the map, is a gargantuan, mysterious structure. This puzzling location has many clues to its origin, but provides no definitive answers. Why is this place called the Forgotten Temple? What were the Guardians protecting? What purpose was the Forgotten Temple built for? I am Moxie, and this is Heavy Speculation. I'm just getting over getting sick right now, so here we go. In the comments of the Temple of Time video, many people were confused about why the Forgotten Temple was not included. This location is special, and it deserves its own theory. Though, before watching this video, watch my theory about the Master Sword. It is linked right now in the upper right hand corner. This theory will not make as much sense without understanding that theory. It's an interesting watch, and I won't be summarizing it here. Go watch it. See you in 15. With that being said, the following theories will definitely be more crackpot. As per the title of the series, sometimes there won't be a ton of evidence. However, I feel like the Zelda community needs more speculation to add to the conversations around these games. If you like Zelda lore, consider subscribing to the channel. It's free and it helps a ton. Let's jump in. Apparently, there's some temple-like structure at the bottom of Tanagar Canyon. Might just be a rumor. Or not. Monkton seems to know about it, since he lost his horse Mary searching for the ruins. After completing all 120 shrines, the monk at whatever given shrine Link is at will say, "Having fulfilled our purpose, we monks bestow upon you this, the warrant of the true hero. You must now depart for the Forgotten Temple." Then Link receives a quest. Head to the Forgotten Temple, where the oldest statue of the goddess stands, to see what they have left for you there. The goddess statue sits at the end of this mysterious place, and is weathered by thousands and thousands of years. Link receives the Hero of the Wild set, a cap, tunic, and trousers that were, according to legend, crafted for a hero who travels the wild. The entire canyon is covered with falling rocks and rubble. There is nothing that could have eroded this canyon. There's no river or stream at the bottom. Aside from possibly Dinral's flight path, there is nothing to cause weathering. It rains a lot, but there's nothing active enough here to suggest causation of this enormous tear in the earth. Plate tectonics could have split these two areas over thousands of years. The parts do not look split open either. This looks like an excavation. I'm not the only person who has come to this conclusion. In a theory by two guys playing Zelda, linked in the description below, they speculate that the temple was buried. I agree with this conclusion. The temple was buried and forgotten. Rocks lay at the bottom and the sides. On one side or the other of the canyon, large heaps of rocks are piled with little to no foliage or trees growing on top. The concept art has these two statues embedded in the pillars, and one above the door. It looks incredibly similar to the sealed temple. There is a symbol on one of the pillars in the art as well. This matches the Veils of Twilight that Link goes through in Twilight Princess, and Skyview Temple in Skyward Sword. Another piece of concept art is incredibly reminiscent of different facilities housing the generators from Skyward Sword. There are ceiling joists and columns acting as posts in rows down the corridor. The brick masonry uses a stretcher and header course pattern. meaning a row of long bricks followed by a row of short bricks. These are corbels, which are stone projecting inside of the walls, providing support to the structure of the roof and walls. On them are carved loft wings that are either from the Sky Era or inspired by the Sky Era. The same engraving is on the tower in Skyloft. The horizontal bands are called string courses, likely to provide additional reinforcement. The building looks like it was made to reinforce tons of weight. There are also multiple walls and structure pillars, which look to have partially given under the enormous weight of the earth. Dirt pours from the corners and piles up. There is a wall in the back of the first room. If the hole was not here, and the temple was buried, it could have tricked anyone who happened upon it. After continuing to unearth the temple, it would be easily distinguishable that the temple continues further down. So, a hole was made. Along the walls is this pattern, which is reflected in most of the architecture from the Sky Era. It's at the sealed grounds, the Temple of Time, Skyloft, and the tower in Thunderhead. There are these circles along the ceiling and the top of the Forgotten Temple, which are very peculiar. When I got up close, I recognized this pattern almost immediately, being the exact same pattern we've seen on the floor leading up to Skyview Spring and the Earth Spring. Given all the evidence of these particular engravings, it is fair to conclude this area was likely built during the time before the events of Skyward Sword, around the time when the Temple of Hylia was constructed. There are several updrafts, and the presence of these suggests areas below this cavern. According to the National Cave and Karst Research Institute's website, quote, "Air movement is often the sign of a large cave. It is caused by differences in air temperature and/or barometric pressure between the cave and the surface. Air pressure inside of a cave always tries to equalize with the outside air pressure. If air pressure outside the cave is greater, air moves into the cave and vice versa. Winter air is colder and thus denser than cave air, moving down cave floors and pushing warmer air out of the cave along with the ceiling. Large caves have larger volumes of air, so as those pressure differences equalize, the air movement can be felt as a slight breeze up to a strong wind. So there's evidence of warmer air below this place, and a lot of it. There must be a lot of heat coming from below with this kind of release of pressure, considering it can maintain a consistent updraft. Caves are going to be a theme in Tears of the Kingdom. This location is very promising for caves and other explorable structures. Two guys suggest that the Forgotten Temple was built before the events of Skyward Sword, making this goddess statue predate the one at the sealed temple. However, the goddess statue has rubble behind and around it, indicating that it was placed here after the temple was built. In Skyward Sword, the goddess statue was located in Skyloft until Link wishes to eradicate Demise. Skykeep with the statue both fall into the sealed grounds. According to the encyclopedia, quote, "The sealed temple did not survive the ages, but Raru's Temple of Time was built where it once stood." Since the sealed temple did not survive, and the goddess statue did not exist in the Temple of Time, in Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess, then the goddess statue must have been relocated. It's definitely not the one from the current Temple of Time, merely based on the difference in size. This statue was likely built in homage to the myth of the Sealed Temple or the Sky Era in general. Many have speculated this is the sealed grounds housing the very same goddess statue. The tree which Impa predicted to stand for millennia could even still be clinging to the walls. I agree this is the same statue, but this place is not the sealed temple. The sealed temple was intentionally destroyed and the Temple of Time was built over it. It was destroyed to hide the entrance during the Interloper War. The Skyview Spring is located in Faron Woods. Many have pointed out that it is found in Breath of the Wild as well. If we are led to believe that these are in fact the same locations, the goddess statue must have been relocated. If this were the same spring, then my theory about the Temple of Time moving would be accurate as well. This is not likely though. These springs are likely built as replicas. The goddess statue was relocated sometime between the end of Skyward Sword and before the banishment of the Twilight. The statue was relocated to the old Temple of Time. Why else would it be referred to as the Forgotten Temple? Temple being the key word here. There was already many large spaces carved out when the mining facility was made. Link never gets to enter the Temple of Time. Gaepora and Impa likely knew how important it was to preserve the statue and keep the goddess sword safe. Likely with the help of the titty chickens. The Forgotten Temple's interior was built to replicate the architecture and design of the ancient Sky era. Quote, as with everywhere throughout Hyrule, the Guardians here are possessed by Ganon. But rather than having invaded the temple from Hyrule Castle during the Great Calamity, they were placed here long ago to protect the facility. The Guardians are immobile. None of them have legs. The ones with legs could have left during the Calamity. I feel like it's important to take a note here and remind each of you watching, my content is about heavily speculating. I try to provide evidence, but a lot of this is going on gut instinct about what the storytellers are trying to convey through the subtext. We speculate here. So, let's dive into speculation territory. Quote, at the beginning of development, the canyon was so deeply tied to the royal family that it was called Valley of the Royal Family. I refuse to believe there's 27 Guardians here simply because the royal family wanted to protect some comfy pants. According to Creating a Champion, quote, a fortune teller predicts the revival of Calamity Ganon. King Rome begins searching for the ancient relics. The canyon was formed during an excavation, looking for the Forgotten Temple. The royal family could have been looking for the temple because it houses the goddess sword. So they start digging. The canyon stops at the Forgotten Temple. It does not extend any further. This is so important and an incredible revelation in terms of what this could suggest. Zelda was worried about Link hearing the ancient voice. She could have been worried for one of two reasons. Zelda is a researcher. She's very scientific in her approach. She may have been worried about Link's spiritual progress and him connecting to the sword. Or she was worried about the sword itself. If the royal family was performing these excavations for years, Zelda would have been in the loop about it. The royal family could be planning to transfer Fi into a new sword. Maybe she wants to know if Link can hear it because she is aware of the goddess sword's existence. In an excellent theory by Zeltic in Monster Maze, linked in the description below, they posit that Ganondorf is a lich. A lich has several requirements. The first being, the lich is a powerful magic wielder. They must have a skeletal appearance and flaming eyes, a strong motivation to live forever, and a phylactery. The phylactery anchors the lich's soul to the physical world. And in this theory, seriously go watch it. They describe that there is no limit to what the phylactery can be, and have a few creative suggestions. However, I speculate that the phylactery is the Master Sword, as it does house Demise's consciousness. If this were true, then the royal family could have been aware and concerned for Phi. They wanted a backup on hand and protected, and possibly were researching a way to transfer Phi into the Goddess Sword to be able to finally destroy the old Master Sword, severing Demise's connection to Ganondorf. On the other hand, the royal family could be completely unaware of the connection Ganondorf shares with the Master Sword, and possibly wanted to dig up the Forgotten Temple just to unearth, explore, and preserve the oldest historical remnants of Hyrule. This explanation is so unsatisfying, though. This is deep in speculation territory, but the connections are solid. However, the Goddess Sword may not exist. I still refuse to believe the Guardians are placed here to protect Link's Nike kicks. Assuming the Forgotten Temple is the original Temple of Time from Skyward Sword, then it is directly connected to the Lanayru mining facility. Link is never allowed to enter the Temple of Time, just to explore a very small portion of the outside. The Temple of Time is nestled between two cliffs, and the color of the rock is similar to the canyon in Breath of the Wild. In a theory by Monster Maze and Croton, they come to the conclusion that the Sheikah tech is powered by timeshift stones. The Lanayru mining facility has the same orange and blue patterns on all of their ancient technology. The floors, walls, and ceilings all glow with those familiar colors. This raises some questions. Where did the Sheikah construct this technology? Throughout Breath of the Wild, Link uncovers the past. The people from 100 years ago were just discovering lost technology from 10,000 years ago. The divine beasts were excavated from Hyrule. The royal family was looking everywhere they could for everything they could. That also means they were looking for the facility where this technology was made. What if Hylia had a third plan to fight Demise? Foreseeing that this would go on for so many thousands of years, she created a massive amount of timeshift stones for the purpose of making guardians. There are so many timeshift stone storage facilities throughout Lanayru, making this highly possible. The Lanayru mining facility is a prime candidate for the construction of the Divine Beasts and the Guardians. This place would have been hidden, especially if it was buried. If she could see everything that was ever going to happen, then she would know about the calamity and prepare for it up to like 50,000 years ahead of time. The timeshift stones were stored from the mining facility. A small set of stairs connects to the Temple of Time. The timeshift stones could have been brought up and taken back in time, effectively duplicating the stones. This could have allowed Hylia to dupe massive amounts of timeshift stones, enough to make an army of guardians. These could have been stored until the Sheikah were able to make this technology somewhere below the Forgotten Temple. If the factory was located under the temple, it would produce a massive amount of heat and energy, more than enough to cause the updrafts. It would have made sense that the facility is located here. It's hard to reach and may require days of traversing through the canyon. Very few people in Hyrule know of its existence. The facility is likely connected through an underground set of caverns giving access to the storage facilities. The location remaining a secret would be important to the Sheikah. Quote, 10,000 years ago, the Sheikah were forced by the royal family to abandon their advanced technology. But they did not lose it entirely. This could be why the royal family was looking for the Forgotten Temple. There were undoubtedly many resources put into the excavation looking for the factory, so the ancient technology could be controlled. They had a general idea of where it was located, but just had to guess. They may have found it leading up to the events of Breath of the Wild, but were unable to thoroughly explore this location before the calamity. There's no hard evidence to prove this assertion, other than the massive presence of guardians and the similarities to the Temple of Time, geographically and spatially. This seems unlikely, but so obvious at the same time. There could be another possible explanation, far less likely than the rest. This space may have been used to seal Ganondorf away. Since the location is forgotten, the people who defeated Ganondorf 10,000 years before the events of Breath of the Wild may have placed Ganondorf here, under a sealing spell, and buried the temple. It was only after the reoccurrence of the calamity that the royal family may have reconsidered the previous generation's decisions. They may have needed to unearth this area to locate Ganondorf's body and make a new plan. The possibilities this burial of the temple insinuates are endless. And I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you like this video, please remember to like and subscribe, because the economy is rough and I could use all the help I could get. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.